Thanks for joining us for this special streaming edition of 9 News at 9. I'm Kyle Clark.
I'm Kim Christensen. After more than a year of contract negotiations, lift workers at Crested Butte Ski Resort are threatening to strike.
Let's bring in 9 News reporter Ria Jha. And Ria, lifties say they need more pay.
Yeah, the lift maintenance union said their wages aren't keeping up with the rising cost of living in the town of Crested Butte. Just this week, union members passed a strike authorization vote. Life in a mountain town isn't built around the 9 to 5. It's built around the slopes.
I mean, there are a lot of people that organize their lives around living and working in the ski industry.
Ian Billick, the mayor of Crested Butte, would know.
And so it's not just a job, it's kind of who many of our community members are.
That way of life is now threatened. The Crested Butte Lift Maintenance Union authorized a strike. They say Vail Resorts has not met their demands to increase their wages.
It feels like there's a disconnect between Vail as a corporation and what's going on in the local community.
Another Vail resort, Park City, saw something similar this season. A weeks-long strike nearly shut down the ski area over the holidays.
The strike that we're seeing and saw in Park City and maybe what's happening here in Crested Butte is a little bit of a symptom of a larger issue.
In a statement to 9 News, Vail Resorts said they have reached tentative agreements on half of the contract and say they are making progress with negotiations. Progress Mayor Billick knows the town depends on.
It's a fundamental part of our economy. So we trust them to get it worked out, but we really want them to get it worked out.
There are 12 members in the union, and Vail Resorts said they are committed to reaching a resolution on the full contract. That next bargaining session is scheduled for next week. Ria Jha, 9 News.
What a beautiful sunset out there tonight, but the chilly conditions remain. We're expecting a slight warm up tomorrow before more wind and snow as we head into Saturday. Fun.
I didn't realize we were looking at a time lapse and then the lights went out, Corey Reppenhagen. Again, I'm not the sharpest knife in the drawer, but that one caught me. Yes, sir. What are we looking at coming up?
Yeah, so tomorrow, just a slight warm up. We could get those temperatures right at the normal mark here, which is the middle 40s for this time of year here in the Denver area. But our next Arctic cold front is coming in here, and it'll be impacting the mountains by tomorrow night, and then the Front Range here by Saturday morning. So there will be the winter weather advisories will go into effect at Friday night at 5 p.m. and carry on into Saturday. Some snow totals here between 4 and 12 inches expected in the mountains, and then it'll come down into the Front Range here on Saturday morning. So we do have a 9 News weather impact day. Even though we're just expecting light snow, the temperature profile here starting out at 12 degrees, staying mainly in the teens throughout the day. I think it will be one of those light but impactful snows coming up on Saturday, and it could last at least flurries for the extent of all the daylight hours. So I'll talk more about that and what to expect on Saturday coming up in the full forecast.
The Palisades fire has now burned more than 36 square miles near Los Angeles, taking out thousands of homes and businesses. Tonight, it is 72% contained.
2 students at CU Boulder were home in California, winter break, when that fire got started. 9 News reporter Colton Chavez is at CU right now. And Colton, they're back on campus with quite the story to tell.
Yeah, Kim, it's quite the story. Just days before the end of their winter break, when they should have been preparing for this next semester, Emmett Reiner and Jackson Wooten found themselves running towards flames that quickly approached their home.
We both live right in the fire zone.
Emmett Reiner and Jackson Wooten say this winter break changed their lives forever.
We were sitting down on the beach together, and all of a sudden Jackson's eyes just completely widen, and we're like, dude, look behind you. And there's this massive, massive smoke plume.
A smoke plume over the Pacific Palisades, the community where they grew up. Emmett immediately headed home.
House looks good. And I just sprinted in the house, probably like 2 blocks through my neighborhood. And as I'm running down my neighborhood, I look over my shoulder, and the entire mountain, Palisades means bluffs. So the entire mountain behind me is just completely aflame.
Emmett says he had to act fast, calling his dad as the flames continued to grow.
Having that conversation, making that phone call you never thought you were gonna make. Where's the passports? Where's the heirlooms? Where's the photos of grandma and grandpa?
Including the inventory for their company they had just launched before the fire.
We've been working on this for almost 3 years now. We've poured almost all of our life savings in this. How are we gonna just stop now in the face of a disaster.
Here's our house from above.
Jackson and Emmett say somehow their home survived the fire. Days later, they headed back to the University of Colorado for their last semester.
I'm still calling both of my parents as well as my grandparents every single day to ensure that they're okay.
Knowing that despite what is gone,
Luck is an understatement.
what they have left is more than enough.
I would run through fire for you. I would run through fire to protect your home because that's exactly what we did.
And speaking with Emmett and Jackson, they tell me that their parents are staying with family friends right now, and fire officials tell them it's going to be about 6 months before they're able to get back in their homes. Live in Boulder, Colton Chavez, 9 News.
As school districts around the state deal with declining enrollment and dropping birth rates, Denver Public Schools are reporting a boost in enrollment this school year. DPS says about 2,000 more students have enrolled this year compared to last year. Much of that is credited to migrant students joining the district. During the last school year, more than 4,700 new-to-country kids enrolled in the district. More than 3,900 of those students finished out the school year. 80% are still here this year. But there's a lot of uncertainty with the Trump administration, and the district is unsure how many of these new students will stay.
We're trying not to respond based on what we think is going to happen. We're trying to respond based on what's actually happening, which is why it's so important for the data to guide the way that we're behaving around this.
DPS says they'll be keeping a close eye on those numbers, ready to respond to whatever may lie ahead.
Obviously, we'll appeal it. They put it before a certain judge in Seattle, I guess, right? And there's no surprises with that judge.
President Trump's recent executive order ending birthright citizenship has been temporarily blocked, as expected. Today, a federal judge issued a temporary restraining order calling Trump's order blatantly unconstitutional. 24 Democratic-led states and cities, including the state of Colorado, have filed lawsuits against the order. They claim that it clearly violates the constitutional right of citizenship for all children born in the U.S. A judge granted the request to halt the policy for the next 14 days, and as you just heard, President Trump plans to appeal. President Trump's nomination to lead the Department of Defense narrowly overcame a Democratic-led filibuster in the Senate today. In a 51-49 vote, Pete Hegseth advanced toward a final confirmation vote that could happen in the next day or so. GOP Senators Lisa Murkowski and Susan Collins joined Democrats in opposition to the nomination. Hegseth, who is a veteran and a Fox News personality, has faced allegations of sexual assault, drunkenness on the job, abuse of women, and financial mismanagement of a veterans charity. He has denied the allegations. Today, President Trump signed an executive order to declassify the remaining files related to the assassinations of President John F. Kennedy, Senator Robert F. Kennedy, and Dr. Martin Luther King, Jr. This order states that the Kennedy and King families, along with the American people, deserve truth and transparency. The executive order will require national security advisors to present a plan to the president for a complete release of the documents related to the JFK assassination within 15 days. The plan also calls for the release of documents related to the assassinations of RFK and MLK Jr. within 45 days.